Like the guy manufacturing a new product in Israel, Ramses. On it is inscribed in Hebraic blue letters, Komm Gesundheit. I'm in good health. Did you get it? Good.
I think it's very interesting. This is a technique that she uses a lot. She'll give the punchline in Yiddish, get the first wave of laughter, then give the punchline in English, get the second wave. And finally, we have Toadie Fields, whose career is also extremely lengthy, but this is from her earlier stand-up, the late 1960s.
I went to Venice. Venice, I did something I think I've wanted to do all my life. I rode in a gondola. Have you ever seen a captain go down with a ship? I caused the first tidal wave that ever hit Venice, if you want to know the truth.
So here we see women that are trading in a lot of the same stereotypes, talking about some women like furs. We have this idea of materialism. We have this idea of being domestic housewives who aspire to nothing greater than motherhood. We have women trading in a lot of the same sort of Jewish stereotypes and female stereotypes that their male counterparts had established. Now we're going to move into 1980 through 1999, the period that I described as deconstructing the stereotype. And let's begin with Roseanne Barr.
But it's good that I'm fat, though, because I'm a mom, and fat moms are better than skinny moms. Because what do you want when you're depressed? Some skinny mom? Well, why don't you jog around a while, and that'll release adrenaline in your blood, and you'll better cope with stress. Or some fat mom? Well, let's have pudding, Oreos, and marshmallows.
Who I believe was the first female stand-up comedian to really take on political matters and current events. Here she is, and oh, wow. They're so eager, the justification is so eager. All right, a little bit of Boozler first.
Crime is frightening to me. I think men and women perceive crime differently, you know? A man gets mugged, he loses his watch or his wallet, that's about it. Women have other considerations to worry about. I'm walking in New York with my boyfriend last week. He says, gee, it's a beautiful night. Let's go down by the river. I said, what are you, nuts? I'm not going down by the river. It's midnight. I'm wearing jewelry. I'm carrying money. I have a vagina with me. I'm not going tomorrow I'll leave it in my other pants, then we'll go down.
And we have Judy Gold, who interestingly has made basically her career trading in the stereotype of the Jewish mother. However, she situates herself in this lineage of the Jewish mother, and she really foregrounds her queer identity, expanding the idea of what constitutes a Jewish mother.
All right, I gotta get out of here. I left my 11-year-old home fucking alone. He just called before and said he was locked out. How great am I as a parent? Anyway, but I gotta say, it's very odd being the gay parent. And, my kids, Henry's 16. When I had kids, it wasn't as common as it is now, and we're in New York, but I have to tell you, I remember when they were very young, we were at the park, and this woman asked me if I was planning on raising my sons as homosexuals, and I was like, absolutely, come on. I mean, they're fucking shit. Their G.I. Joe just got kicked out of the military, so they're playing with Barbies, and we don't have any bedrooms in our apartment. They're gonna be sleeping in the closet for the first 18 years of their lives, so.
So again, we see the ways that these stereotypes are being deconstructed, whether it's by class affiliation or sexuality or political focus. Next, we're going to move into the period between 2000 and 2015, the period of the New Jew, as Henry Bial calls it. And here we see ways in which women are really embodying this stereotype of the Jewish American princess, sort of, and taking it to its ridiculous extent as a way of exposing that ridiculousness. Let's start.
I'm not into jewelry or anything. I'm such a hypocrite. There's a jewel
But no, if you saw it, so worth it. So worth it. You know, it's like, how do I describe it? Like if a diamond had that newborn baby smell. I want it. But I have a moral issue with it, obviously, because they're treating the unions and debone the babies really bad. I guess. So cute.
Just keeps finding the line and then jumping over it. Finding the line, and here we have Amy Schumer, who she followed Sarah Silverman pretty fairly closely. I think in a lot of ways was influenced.
I'm really not. I'm not shallow at all. Like, the guy I'm seeing right now isn't even good looking. I'm serious. No one's ever like, who's that? They're like, what happened? Is he ill? Should we call someone? I've never cared about that stuff, you know? And he's so rich that it doesn't come up. I can't hear him with the back.
And finally, let's hear a little bit from Joan Rivers later in life. This is from 2013 when she was on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. Or no. Yes, sorry. It was a Jimmy Kimmel Show. Nope, not the justification. We will get to the justification, I promise. But first.
Bill got me into charity, Sean Penn.
Well, he's tremendous. What a humanitarian.
Yes, he called me up, and we went to the city, the wet city, the one that got wet. New
New
Orleans,
Orleans.
yes. And he said, you do good, and you also get photographs, so it's nice. And we're in this boat. It was really great. It was Sean and me, and nice. We had my makeup person and my hairdresser and my PR person, and we had People Magazine and Entertainment Weekly, and we had sandwiches and we rode around. It was very nice. Hello. And then every once in a while, like a hand would come up, together. No!
Right.
There we go. Stereotypes of entitlement are alive and well. So now we can go to the justification. Okay. Just as Jewish female comedians pushed their way to the phallocentric stand-up microphone, this study pushes its way into the masculine historiography of stand-up comedy. If you Google the terms Jewish stand-up comedy, this is the image you get. And I wasn't even able to encompass the full magnitude of this phenomenon because the next 7 pages of images are all men. After 7 pages, you get a shot of Sarah Silverman, followed by more shots of men. So I thought that was kind of a neat little encapsulation of why this study should be done. Historical accounts of stand-up by scholars such as John Lemon and Richard Zoglin emphasize the formative role of the comedy scene of the Borscht Belt, Jewish resorts in the Catskill Mountains, where most of America's foremost stand-ups cut their teeth. As Samantha Goldstein meticulously proves in her dissertation, on the Catskill official stages, men performed for women, not the other way around. This was not a welcoming environment for female comics. As a result, historical accounts focus primarily on male stand-up comedians. Even the histories that focus specifically on the Jewish contribution to stand-up comedy provide little, if any, acknowledgement of the Jewish female comedians. The holes left by this omission are beginning to be filled by scholarship on Jewish female performers across multiple forms of comedy, like sketch comedy, stand-up, sitcoms, and stage, by authors such as Joyce Antler, Giovanna P. Del Negro, and Sarah Blocher-Cohen. However, there has not yet been an in-depth historical study devoted to Jewish women and specifically stand-up comedy. Nor has there been an analysis of the process by which Jewish women's stand-up becomes mediatized. Therefore, this study would contribute a new archive, a new history, and a new perspective. The project also contributes to Jewish studies, a field that has seen tremendous growth in literature on gender, sexuality, and Jewish identity. Dance scholars like Rebecca Rossin and Hannah Sarah Schwadron have put this robust literature into dialogue with dance studies. My study will take on a similar task, putting the literature on gender stereotypes and Jewish identity formation into conversation with analysis of female stand-up comedians. In this way, I will extend the foundational work by scholars such as Rossen and Schwadron to a form where it has not yet been applied, modern female stand-up. The goal of the project is to catalyze new knowledge by examining how stand-up comedians depict identities such as femaleness and Jewishness, interacting with stereotypes such as the Jewish American princess. The project also attends to the way that audiences receive and process these depictions and allow them to inform their perception of Jewish American women. In this way, it is in conversation with the field of reception studies, and particularly of use to scholars who are looking for a model of how to extend established models of audience perception to different forms of performance. Methods and methodologies. So first we'll look at production and then we'll move on to reception. So to gather data on the production of stand-up comedy performances, I'll examine performance archives from media texts, such as video or audio recordings, and traces, such as programs, photographs, advertisements, and marketing literature. I will also attend to information on the logistics of the production, such as its geographic location, its venue, the price of tickets, the length of the run, and its placement with respect to other acts, if that is applicable. In specific contemporary cases, I will be able to use ethnographic methods, observing stand-up performances, and conducting interviews with contemporary Jewish female comedians. I'll process this data using methodologies drawn primarily from performance analysis. When possible, I will analyze the comic text linguistically, identifying moments when the comedian invokes or references elements of Jewish stereotype, such as Yiddish vocabulary or sentence structure, references to Jewish customs or rituals, and even vocal inflection. I will also take a semiotic approach, analyzing the significance of the performer's gesture and costume. In instances of filmed performances, I will use film analysis to example mise-en-scène, cinematography, and editing. In the instances of reception, I will use archival methods such as recording of audience members, either during live performances or in interviews, as well as reviews or feature articles in relevant periodicals. These periodicals will encompass both Jewish publications, English and Yiddish, as well as mainstream publications. Gathering print sources from multiple perspectives will allow me to examine them using methodologies from discourse analysis, comparing critical responses between Jewish and non-Jewish, or not specifically Jewish, spheres. It's particularly useful to compare the discourse held in Yiddish to that held in the English section of Yiddish publications, or English language Jewish publications, to understand the differences between Jewish groups at varying levels of assimilation. For more recent case studies, my ethnographic method will shift to participant observation, autoethnography, and surveys. At comic performances by contemporary case study performances, such as Amy Schumer and Judy Gold, I will conduct informal interviews with audience members. I will perform an autoethnography, recording my own responses to an analysis of live performances. Additionally, I will use online audience surveys distributed both before and after the performances to amass quantitative data. My methodology in processing field notes from interviews and autoethnography will draw on grounded theory, a sociological approach in which analysis occurs